Hello there, I'm Sam Murray, I'm the campaign director for Wales for Womack, and I'm joined today by Amelia Womack, who is the campaign that we would like to see as your first preference for deputy leader. We thought we'd take this opportunity. We've just been in the hustings here in Cardiff for Wales for the leadership and deputy leadership, which Amelia absolutely smashed, so well done on that.
Thank you.
And we just thought we'd take this opportunity to find a bit more about you and why Wales Greens can connect with you more and why they should be voting for you. So I thought maybe we could start off by talking a bit about your background. So obviously you were from Newport originally, and you were state school educated as well. How do you think your background kind of plays into your story as a politician and your journey into becoming currently deputy leader of the Green Party?
I mean, it certainly played a part. I was born in the Royal Gwent and I spent many years until I was 19 in Newport. And I think especially seeing a lot of the contrast of some of the social problems in Newport, when you look at something like the Ryder Cup, which came to Newport and was rained off, but during that same time housing was completely flooded, roofs were leaking, and it was a lot of people in council houses were impacted by the same events that didn't make international news, in fact barely made local news. And that really highlighted to me that that huge gap between real people's lives and what the media focus on and often what politicians focus on. And I was very glad to find a party that was addressing that. And I think the reason that I even joined the Green Party was because in my very first election, I think it was just a by-election actually, my mum saved all of the leaflets from all of the parties and told me to vote for what I believed in. So had it not been for the Gwent Greens delivering in a by-election, I might not have been sat here today.
The good old Gwent Greens.
Exactly, yeah.
And is there anything in particular about your journey, maybe even perhaps your education, that inspires you to fight for better kind of social rights and social justice? Is there anything in your background that kind of drives you to be the politician that you are today?
That's a good question. I think really one of the things that the opportunities we have in Wales is, although we might live in cities, it doesn't take very long to be linked to the countryside. And I think that really did make an impression in terms of thinking about environmental rights back in the days when a bypass was meant to be going past Newport, and destroying that habitat that was so close to my house and that I'd enjoyed going to and playing in as a child. And I think that really captured my imagination in terms of protecting the environment, and obviously very reflective of a lot of battles we have in Wales again today.
So obviously you were the Welsh Assembly election candidate for Cardiff Central and South Wales Central, and before you were part of the election you'd previously been living in London as well. What kind of changes did you see when you returned to Wales, and what do you think the lessons were that you learned from being part of the Welsh Assembly election process?
There have been so many changes in Wales, and I think that one of the things that really stood out to me, and probably this is linked to the fact that the EU campaign was on the horizon, is how the EU was supporting a lot of Wales in a very different way to when I was 19. Obviously, I've got so many. I probably have more understanding of the Welsh NHS and education systems and things like that, having grown up here and having had family and friends that still live here and use those systems. But the fact that the EU gives Wales so much support, whether it's from arts and culture funding, whether it's from railways, or whether it's just buffering some of the worst of the failures of Westminster policy in Wales. And that stood out, and it was one of the reasons why I really wanted to make sure we stayed in the EU, and was disappointed that actually what the EU meant to Wales wasn't really talked about enough in Wales. And I think this is as I was saying in the hustings, the failure of media, the fact that in Wales very few people have the opportunity to read Welsh press, which means that the information's coming from London, and it meant that people couldn't see what the EU did and the difference that the EU made in a lot of communities across the whole of Wales.
For our final section, we're going to have a bit of fun. I'm going to do kind of Welsh pairs. And you've got to choose between these two different things or people. So we're going to start off with the ultimate Welsh question: football or rugby?
Rugby.
Good answer.
Although I've become more interested in football recently than I ever have been before.
That was the diplomatic answer. That's what you need for a deputy leader.
It was exciting though.
Yeah, it was. Barrabrith or Welsh cakes?
Welsh cakes.
Welsh cakes, good choice. And finally, the most ultimate Welsh question you can ask. Tom Jones or Shirley Bassey?
This is hard. It's really hard.
It is
but
hard.
I'm going to have to say Tom Jones. It's definitely Tom Jones.
The green grass of home.
Yeah.
You've heard it here first. Thank you very much, Amelia.